Here's a journal I made, and I included this little tool pouch, and it has little bits and pieces of lace in it so that you can kind of personalize and add these snippets to your pages or anything else that you want to include. I also added a button and a little key. Now this, I have a little snippet roll that I attached, and I actually attached it with a pin. I felt like that looked really pretty. You can obviously tie it, but I just like the way it looked with the pin. It's a snippet roll made of different laces. Some of these are vintage lace, like these little flowers here. And I left them a little bit loose because I thought it adds more texture. I think it looks so pretty like that. And then I used some of the same lace on the cover. I used a doily here. I did a ruffle on here and added some more vintage lace. And then I felt like this material looks so pretty with the white. I really like that stripe. And so with this kit, I included this little packet of paper, which I felt worked really well with the journal. So I just have some bits and pieces like note papers. So these will look really pretty, just collaged or, just clipped in to your journal. And then I have this. I thought that was such a nice saying. Okay, so we're going to move on to the journal now. I want to show you the side view. Basically, I start out with this page. It has a lovely doily on here that's been coffee dyed. And then I have an envelope here so you can tuck in little notes or photos. Here's a tag I made for it. And it actually opens up for more journaling. And then I have this little dangle. So a Bible page with Psalms on there. I always like to add that in my journals. This is an old book page, and you can see it's a little bit torn, but I think that kind of adds to the page. I think it looks so pretty when you have like the aged, you can see the aged brown and yellow in there. It just looks so lovely. And then I have this little pocket holder and a tag, and this comes out. Here's another pocket, and in here I have this little note paper basically. There's a vintage piece of wallpaper, some vintage lace, another book page that's an old book page. And here we have a little cluster that I made with some fabric. And let's see, this is some scrapbook paper, and that's an old book page. And if you can see, I did some stitching on there, little X's. I like to use the little bike printable. It's so pretty when you have the bike because it can be so symbolic for kind of like where you're going. It could be physical, but it can also be like a state of like an emotional place you're going, where you're going in life, where you're going with your job, just where you're going anywhere in life basically. And I felt like that works really well in journals. I really like that. And here's some more journaling space. And here's a little envelope I actually made. And it has these little vintage flowers. And there's some fabric underneath there. And I put it down with some washi tape. And then you open it up, there's a little card inside. Again, you can put a little note or a picture in there. At least that's how I like to use them. I also use, I add a lot of verses, quotes, or poetry to my journals. Anything that is special to me, I like to add that in too. So that's kind of like for a title or a quote. You could add a photo down here or just do some journaling. That would be really pretty. So this is an old book page, scrapbook paper, and then I don't know if you could see the netting. I like to use netting in my clusters. It kind of adds some dimension and kind of, it just looks so pretty. And then I have some fabric that's been frayed, and then there's that little flower there that's vintage. And here's another piece of vintage lace. And let me just pull this out. So then I have this tag, and I basically stapled on here this piece of wallpaper, vintage wallpaper, vintage lace, and I did a little tie on top of that. You can see that. Thought that looked pretty. And I'm just tucking it under this little doily. And here I have a little paper clip that's holding onto it, and I added a little feather that I found on our walks, and then I tied it with a little bow on the end. I thought that looked really pretty. And here I included some papers just to do some more. You can, I like to just attach them with paper clips so that they can be placed anywhere and kind of customized in the journal. And I added a little yellow snippet of handmade paper. I thought that worked really well with the journal. And then this is a coffee dyed note paper. Okay, and so this opens up. And again, here you can add, you know, you can add one of these guys that I included and do some journaling. Or you can add a photo in there. Like you can go like this. That could be pretty. So it's just nice to have. It's kind of like a little surprise that it opens up. You could do more personal journaling here because it's not like out in the open. So that's what I like about adding little flaps like that. And you can do like a verse or a poem there. At least that's how I would use it. And so here's another little tag that I made. And this right here is actually a glue gun seal. And it has some dried flowers underneath. I thought that was kind of a cool technique to do. And this is a vintage book page. I felt like it worked really well with the journal. And here's a little tag with a flower, and then there's a little snippet of lace in there. And then there's a little printable with some lace. And I thought that was really cute. And then I added another one of these little safety pin dangles with some beads. There's another vintage book page. This I attached with just a paper clip so it could be moved anywhere. Or it could just be glued down, and you can add like the date or just a few words or a title on there. I really like using these labels. These labels are actually from my Etsy shop too. So again, I added one of these. I think this looks pretty here, but I left it unglued so that whoever has the gets the journal can personalize it and glue it down wherever they would like. But I think it looks pretty good here too. You can just layer pictures over it or journaling tags. Here's a little printable. This is another vintage book page with the trees and flowers. And this right here is, I think it's like a cocktail napkin. I like the way it looked. I've had these for a while, and I really wanted to use these napkins, and I really was happy with the way this one turned out. Here is another tag I made, and this is just stapled on there. just some old vintage lace. And so I just added it on there. There's another vintage book page. Here's another note card. You could do some journaling on the back. And another vintage, this is a book page, and I made it into like a little tag with journaling space on the back. And so that way, if it's a bit personal, you just turn it over and tuck it in. And so it's not like open to everybody. And I have this. It's a little, like another place to journal. And so that kind of closes up. I used some washi tape here. And I added this little tie. So it looks almost like a little bundle, like a note that's been tied up. And then I got a little side pocket here that it fits into. And then if you have anything else that you want to tuck in on the sides, oops. So then if you have other pages you'd like to tuck in, you can just tuck them in there, and it looks so pretty to have like all the layers in there. And then here's a Psalm 23. I thought that was so pretty. And I have this little vintage book page that I included with these little lambs. I thought that was so cute. Then more journaling space, or you can add obviously pictures or sketches even. Here's another envelope I made that flips out. And so here's a little packet of goodies I added in there. So basically, let's see, there's a little piece of lace. This is that vintage lace. And here is a little fussy cut. There's a title page, a little bit of wallpaper, some vintage wallpaper, and there's this little cutout of a postcard. And then I really like this quote, so I included this on there. It says, "What you see and what you hear depends on a great deal on where you are standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are." By C.S. Lewis from The Magician's Nephew. I thought that's a nice quote. I love C.S. Lewis's quotes from his book. And so I always like to print them out and use them. And then this is a vintage piece of notepad paper that I just folded in 3. And I thought that would be nice addition to this little kit. And so I just kind of paper clip them together. And I have them tucked in here. Now this is like a little filing card that I made. And it has a little poem in there. And I think that the image is so pretty. And so I added this little sticker print on there. I thought it worked well. So I thought that was a nice little thing to add in here. On the other side, I have this card that again I sewed all this vintage lace on here. And then this is a Tim Holtz little vintage print, card. And I did the ruffle on the top, and I added this button with the tassel. And it's so pretty on there. I really like that. It's basically a little card. And again, I sewed more lace at the top. This is really like a special place to write a quote or something like special in your life. I thought that was just a nice way to keep a memory. And that is the last page of this book. And then it's all lace on the back. And that is my journal. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you. And you guys have a wonderful day.